Zippity and stationary are where we start tonight. And if you don't know what I mean, well, neither do I, so let's just jump into it. As it is the first time that I missed an episode of Rampage, as I must have just forgotten that yesterday was Friday, and that, well, I must have forgotten what I normally do on Friday. But either way, yesterday was an episode of Rampage, and instead of doing the preview, we will look back at the final episode of Rampage of 2022. And I know a lot of people may say that this episode of Rampage was just a basic episode, but if you put two and two together, then the fact of the matter is, you are ignoring the possibility that we may have seen some intriguing results from this episode of Rampage. And it starts with and it revolves around the best friends and Kip Sabian's continued escapade to get the All-Atlantic title away from Orange Cassidy. Because yes, this does mean that Mr. Rampage Orange Cassidy was on this week's episode, again, defending the All-Atlantic Championship like he normally does on episodes of Rampage against his stablemate and friend Trent Beretta. But we'll get to that in a second, as I would like to cover everything else that took place on the show, including the main event, which saw Wheeler Yuta against the freshly turned Swerve Strickland, and he had his boys Parker Bordeaux and Graydon Goatsman at ringside with him. Wheeler Yuta also had BCC member Jon Moxley on commentary during the matchup. Swerve actually won, which I may sound surprised by, but I shouldn't be, considering the fact that Swerve Strickland is a brand new heel. So the idea of him losing his first match as a heel officially really doesn't make much sense, because it would really curtail his push and his, space as a heel if the first match that he had as a heel he lost. So it kind of makes sense that he won, but I guess I'm just a little skeptical, considering the fact that I feel like BCC wins a lot more than they loses a lot more than they win outside of Mox. Even though Mox and Claudio did just win against Top Flight, it really depends on what the plan is for the BCC coming in 2023, but I don't know. I guess I understand it. I just not sure. The best way to put it is, I guess I'm just not sure how much of a fan of Swerve Strickland I am. Not to say I'm not a fan of him. I guess I just like the BCC a little bit more. I wonder why. I think I need to see a little bit more of Swerve, and I guess that kind of points to the idea of why him winning makes more sense. But Jade Cargill also won again, defeating former baddie Kiera Hogan. Red Velvet was also kept in the title picture, as she helped Kiera Hogan in the end fight off Leela Gray and Jade Cargill, defending Kiera Hogan. So it is quite obvious that Red Velvet is going to remain in the title picture going into 2023, which I think is both fitting and necessary, because the AEW needs people. Decidedly, AEW needs people that are going to stay in the title picture because they can't keep the TNT title or the TBS championship. I apologize. The TBS championship, they can't keep that belt on Jade Cargill forever. They may want to, but they can't. You know, Jade can't be the champion forever. And they gotta figure out, at some point, who will be the person to defeat her. In my opinion. Now we circle back as Kip Sabian fought a local enhancement talent after the match with Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. And if you want to know why I figured that we would save Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta for the end, it is because the ending of the match, which was a solid opener for AEW, and another identifying characteristic of what I think they need to do with Rampage, that they need to have Rampage be a show that you can expect the unexpected on, because I don't think anybody expected Orange Cassidy to... I mean, that Trent Beretta would... that AEW would tease tension between Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, because after the match, Trent left in a huff. Chucky T, of course, followed his partner, but in my opinion, they're teasing tension between the best friends, and that adds a layer of intrigue, and not just because of Kip Sabian's entertaining commentary, and just how entertaining Kip Sabian was. I mean, in my opinion, seeing Kip Sabian in this position and how entertaining he was makes waiting for him to return all the more worth it, because of how entertaining he is. You know, and the fact is, I'm intrigued. You know, I gotta say, I'm intrigued by how things are gonna go, or with how things are gonna go for the best friends in the coming weeks, as a little bit of tension and a little bit of development is never a bad thing. But now, like I said, we look for, with the fact that we looked back for last week's episode of yesterday's episode of Rampage, it was also it would also give us an opportunity to look ahead to the first edition of Dynamite in 2023, and the expected first episode of AEW under the new changes. By that I mean AEW is expected to set up the changes, the new sets, the new graphics, etc. that were coming in 2023. It's supposedly supposed to have its first day on January 4th. Let me put it that way. I think I said January 3rd, but it's supposed to be January 4th. That the first episode of the new Dynamite and the new Rampage is January 4th in AEW's debut in the Pacific Northwest. And Dynamite will feature. We may do a preview beforehand. We'll see what happens. But thus far, Dynamite is set to feature Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster defending the tag team titles against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, which is still a sentence I can't believe I'm saying. And Tony Nese will fight Bryan Danielson as Bryan Danielson continues his trek to title contention against Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And MJF is set to appear Jade Cargill and Red Velvet against Sky Blue and Kira Hogan. I think I may have misinterpreted what happened on Rampage. I don't think Red Velvet helped. I think Sky Blue may have, because if Red Velvet helped, then why would Red Velvet if Red Velvet helped Kira Hogan, why would Red Velvet then be teaming with Jade Cargill? I think it was the other way around, and I was a little confused. But also, Hangman Adam Page, we will get an update on Hangman Adam Page on Dynamite next Wednesday night, and more to come, I expect, as we get closer to the first edition of Dynamite in 2023. With that being said, I think we circle back. I think we circle back. And yeah, no. Oh, I misread. No. I misread it. It was what I read, but I misread that Red Velvet actually helped Jade against Kira Hogan. Red Velvet helped Jade from against Kira Hogan. So that explains why on the first edition of Dynamite of 2023, we will be seeing the tag team match that we will be seeing. That explains it. And I know that usually I do a preview. I don't actually talk about it weeks before or days before, but it is a big edition of Dynamite, so we may do 2 videos instead of just 1. But I also just want to say, now that we have this opportunity, I applaud AEW, WWE, and other wrestling companies for offering nice tributes to Don West, as both WWE and AEW did tributes to Don during their programs last night, with WWE's tribute from Michael Cole and AEW, I believe, playing a video during Rampage. Yes, AEW showed a video graphic to Don West during Rampage last night, so I applaud both AEW and WWE for doing that. And I just want to say, and I will wrap this up with every video, I will wrap it up this way with every video I do today. Happy New Year. I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy New Year, and stay safe today. If you don't have to go out, please don't go out, because New Year's Eve is one of the most complicated days of the year as far as drunk driving and, safety questions. So if you don't have to go out, please don't go out. And the one thing I would like to say is I am looking forward to a fresh set of 12 months to be able to give you all content that you and I both can enjoy. I thank you for the last few months of support and continued support of the channel. And again, I would like to wish you all a very happy, healthy, and safe 2023. See you in the new year.